when before the flood wall was built, you can see the K&I bridge in the background. But after the flood wall was built, of course, you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see down to the river or anything. And there's houseboats that's down on the river. And people, parked their boats down there and was living there. They don't do that anymore.
Right.
Just bring it up to the shore. There wasn't any kind of facilities. Just people, that's their house and they live there.
Wow.
My daddy pointed out one of them and he said, "That's where Dirty Neck Johnson lives." And I don't know if there's a guy there whose name really was Dirty Neck Johnson or if he was trying to get me to wash my neck. I don't know which one it was, but it's interesting. He never did say.
How do you remember the name Dirty Neck Johnson?
How can you forget it? I didn't have a bicycle, but my friend who lived next door had a bicycle. His daddy gave him a bicycle for his birthday or something. It was new to him. He learned how to ride it. And he would tote me around, and I'd sit on the back fender and he'd hold on and he would ride me around. But then he got to wanting me to ride it. And the back fender was low enough that I could get both feet on the ground. And I felt very secure there. But the seat was pretty darn high because I couldn't really touch the ground very good with my feet. And so I was concerned about it. Anyway, I sit on the back fender and learned how to ride the bicycle from the back fender. No kidding. But after I got used to riding the bicycle, then I tried it up on the seat and found out it wasn't too bad either, and that was okay. But it was interesting. That's the way I learned how to ride a bicycle. My first day of school was a disaster. I didn't want to be there in the first place. And that old nun that I had that was teaching, I didn't have sense enough to do what everybody else did. She said, put your right foot out or left foot out, whichever one it was. She wanted us to put our left or right foot out in the aisle, whichever it was she said, and I didn't know my left from my right. And so I put the wrong one out there, and she come over and scolded me, and right away I knew I didn't like school at all. And I never much changed my opinion the whole time I was in school. You'd think I'd have sense enough to just do what everybody else did, but I wasn't used to following anybody else. I was the oldest kid in my family, and I'd always been kind of an independent spirited person, not wishing to take instruction that much, but just find out things on my own. I've always loved to explore. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I hadn't signed up for any extracurricular activities, and the brother that was my homeroom teacher, I guess, he took account of who all was involved in what and found us, several of us weren't involved in anything. And he made us go up and report to Brother Xavier for a glee club. And why he did that, I don't know, but that was one of the greatest things that happened to me. When I look back at my high school years, that's one bright spot that I can look at and feel really happy about. In my sophomore and junior years, I sang with the glee club. We had the biggest glee club in St. X history, 82 people in that thing. Normally, I think they have about somewhere between 15 and 25, But we had 82 people in it, and it was fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. My senior year, I had to drop out because my folks had bought a farm, and I had to live over in Indiana and couldn't get to the glee club activities, Just couldn't get there anymore. But looking back, I really liked that. Suited me to a T. I got my letter, high school letter that you get for a glee club.
Life.
Well, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And if you don't get it at the right time, you just basically miss it. It's not that you can't make up for it. You can make up for it somewhat. But it's too late to go back and get everything you didn't do. You know, I could have taken public speaking or something and been a lot more outgoing amongst people. But I didn't do it.
Would that have been too much to handle?
Yes.
Are you sure I can't videotape you, Mom?
He said he'd be more outgoing and speak more to people. My gosh, he talks constantly all the time to anybody he meets along the way.
Yeah. Public speaking is an art that I could have learned in high school. They taught it. But they didn't teach me that because I wasn't smart enough to know that I should go for it. I just didn't know. But nonetheless, I am who I am.
We're all
I'm
very
pretty.
funny.
I tell you what, I'm really happy with my life, though. In spite of obvious mistakes that I made, basically, I've had a happy life.
That's good.
And look at my wife. I'm so tickled to death to have her for my wife. You wouldn't believe it. This is my childhood sweetheart. I've known her since she was 14. You know, I mean, of course, I asked her to marry me when she was 14 too, but she was a lot smarter than me, and she didn't commit herself to anything. Anyway, I have had a wonderful life, and when I pray, I always thank God for my life. In spite of all the mistakes and everything else I've made, it seems like some of the really, really basic stuff I got right. I never had a problem with my religion. It always came easy to me. I always understood it, and I grew in my faith the way people normally do, I guess. But I never was rebellious toward it, and I always feel like that I continually grew. And of course, that's as much, probably more God's work than my work. All you need is God needs a little cooperation, and He can lead you. But other things, I made a lot of other mistakes in life, but I did okay with God, fairly good, and I got me a good wife early on and stayed with her, and we had our family that we'd planned on, and God was good enough to give me a good job that allowed her to stay home and raise the children. I enjoyed my time in the military, and when I got out of high school, I had a good job waiting for me at the FBI. I'm telling you, looking back, all the important stuff was good, and I guess that's why I had such a happy life. I've really been happy in my life.